and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that will chillingly whisper in your ear ghostly tales of the unexplained. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a professional medium and a finder of spooky tales to tell you by candlelight. Tonight, I have found for you a collection of stories of whispering ghosts. The very thought of it can give you chills. Then later, brush off the goosebumps with my in-studio spirit reading. If you're new to this podcast, each week I pick a listener as a guest for a free medium reading. And if you'd like your chance as well, I'll share that information later on in the podcast. Then join me around the seance table for a message from the spirits. I love to see which spirits are lingering around with a message that may be specifically for you. But for now, turn down the lights and gather close. The whispering ghosts are arriving right now. One night, I slept overnight in the guest bedroom at my grandparents' house. In the middle of the night, I was woken up from a sound sleep to a strange whispering just outside my bedroom door. I sat up and paid attention, as I didn't know if it were my grandmother or someone else. The whispers got a bit louder, and then I realized they were saying my name. A chill ran all the way down my back, and I knew I was the only one awake at that moment. I was young, so I still believed the blanket was my supernatural shield. The whispers went on a few more times more, and then stopped. I had the hardest time falling back asleep until my body just gave up and I drifted off back to sleep. Fast forward to a couple weeks later to a celebration my whole family was having at my grandparents' house. They have a back porch, and my mom was out there rearranging things and just setting up. I never told anyone about the whispering I had heard that night. I arrived a few hours later with my dad, and my mom approached me with a confused and fearful look on her face. She said that while she was on the back porch, something came close to her ear and whispered my name a couple of times. I just stared at her in disbelief. I then told her of my occurrence with those whispers a couple of weeks prior. To this day, we have no explanation as to the whispering. My family had moved to Denver when I was 9. When we arrived in Colorado, we had to live in an apartment for about 7 months before we moved into a house that was being built for my family. From the moment we were being shown the apartment, I can remember feeling very uneasy. The woman led us through the space and decided to show me the room that would be mine. I was left there while my parents and the woman went downstairs. I had had a doll with me to play with. I didn't realize I was alone until the door to my room slammed shut. I fled the room and told my parents I was scared, but I was not taken very seriously because I was so young. We moved in, and every night I spent in my room, I could see a man. He was so dark, and I could only see the shadow outline of him. in an old western cowboy duster coat with a cowboy hat tilted down towards the floor. This happened for a very long time, and my mom and I rearranged my bedroom many times to try to remedy the problem. Nothing worked, and the man was always there. One night, I was completely asleep, and something woke me up. I had been awoken by someone sitting on the side of my small twin bed. I was completely frozen, my heart pounding in my ears. The person on the edge of my bed leaned in towards my face and then whispered in my ear, "And it went like this and it went like that." I flew out of my bed screaming like I had never screamed before. I found my mother and I told her exactly what happened. Years later, I was talking to my mother about what happened that night. She told me she never wanted to scare me by validating my fears, but she was always uneasy in that apartment as well. She told me that the door to my room would close with such force when I was in there alone that she resorted to putting a cinder block in front of it. She also told me that sometimes when we would go out to run errands, she would come home to hundreds of blowflies inside the apartment at the kitchen window, trying to get out, and there would be a horrible smell. My mom was a clean freak, so she would bleach every surface she could, trying to get rid of the smell. And she said it would go just as fast as it would come. Needless to say, I'm glad that this is the only experience that I had ever had, because it had affected me like no one can really imagine unless it happened to them. You can believe it or not, but it is the truth, and it will always remain with me. This occurrence took place at my house in Maryland about 3 years ago. My house is 2 stories at the top of a long 200-foot driveway surrounded by trees. It can be incredibly spooky at night if you're home alone. My best friend Rachel and I were juniors in high school and wrote music together. One day we were at my house sitting downstairs where we usually would practice music. We were going through an older song with myself on the acoustic guitar and Rachel was singing. We had a habit of recording ourselves on an old tape recorder so we could correct errors and see what it sounded like as a whole. As I was sitting there playing, my left ear felt like it was going numb, and it sounded like static in that ear. I stopped playing and rubbed my ear and explained to my friend what happened. We had no real answers, so we went through the song again, and then the same thing happened. I was thoroughly weirded out, so Rachel suggested that we go back and listen to the tape. We rewound the tape and played it back and listened. And when we got to that part in the song where my ear felt odd, we heard what sounded like whispering in the background. To my recollection, I think we played it back several times to hear the same thing. Perhaps over-imagination, perhaps mishearing things, but we got chilled and ran upstairs to wait until my parents got home. When I told my brother later, he wanted to hear the tape, but I could never find that section again. The whispering seems to have disappeared. Are you enjoying your ghostly visit? If so, please follow, like, comment, and share. The ghosts may be talkative, but they are lousy at marketing, so every click helps. Tell your friends, and please leave a kind review so that others might join us. The spirits and I thank you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Steve. Steve, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to your reading. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for meeting with me. I have my notes and impressions to share with you. And from there, we'll just keep going and we'll see what else comes up, okay?
Okay.
All right. First, coming in, I'm getting the sense of there's a woman coming in, older woman, bringing in the sense of friendship, and she's giving me the impression of family and tradition and family and being the safe haven for you. I don't know if she actually was your family or she, as close as you can possibly be to family. She's coming in with this sense of being a source of tradition in history. She's talking about, I'm getting the impression of Germany.
Now, a German person could be my wife's grandmother. She was Hungarian.
This feels right to me. She feels, she's like, yes, really warm, really a caring, big-hearted person who offered friendship as well as a sense of family. Does that make sense?
That's what her name was. Momo. We called her Momo.
Do you know if she drank tea?
She did.
Okay, because she's showing me teacups, and it's almost like she's inviting me to have tea with her, which is amazing because I've got my teacup here right here. Do you know if she was affected by World War II?
Wow. I'm wondering if I'm thinking of the right person, but yes.
Spirits never come in on their own. So Sometimes they're talking to me at the same time. Mm-hmm. But let's unpack that a little bit. So you're thinking this could be related to her and it could be related to someone else?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's explore with her first. Tell me a little bit about Moma, you said her name was?
Mama.
And her connection with World War II.
Momo was in America at World War II. Mm-hmm. But Caitlin, my daughter, has a dear friend who was directly affected by World War II. And we used to go to dinner occasionally. But she only spoke German, so I never spoke a word to her. But we had the best relationship. So,
okay.
So it's kind of weird.
Okay. So your daughter's friend, was she displaced?
She was, absolutely. She was in the thick of it.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense of like rubble even.
Yeah. She lived in a cave at one time.
That is incredibly terrifying. She is saying, boy, did she learn the sense of appreciating everything and sharing it with others emotionally, and how important the small details of life are.
That makes sense.
Okay. Well, let me see what else I have. Oh, I was shown a pencil drawing Did you know anyone who liked to sketch in pencil?
No, but I have a wonderful pencil drawing that I love very much. And it's of my mother.
It's of your mom. Okay.
Yeah. She passed when I was 12.
Well, let's see with her. She wants to talk about your dad. Was your dad a logical person?
Pretty much, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. She wants you to know that she's showing me the sun. She's showing me that she's in a really good space now. I'm getting the sense there were some hardships there. And also, did she have a hard time navigating her emotions?
I would say she had a lot going on.
Yeah.
She had a tough childhood. She died early. She has sickness.
Yeah, she's acknowledging all of that and how that has fallen away from her. And if you ever worry or wonder, she's like taking this deep breath and letting it out and go, it's all good. It's all good now. Okay. Yeah, she wants to say that to you. Okay. How do I bring this up? I'm seeing a baby blanket, a knitted. Can you speak to that?
We lost my son.
I'm so sorry. I feel like, was that sudden and fast?
He died at birth.
Did you have to be logical about the whole thing? Did you have to be like kind of the rock?
Yep. Yeah. It was a hard battle.
Yeah. And he's expressing to me that he's so sorry about that situation and how that happened. And he sees you just trying your best in that, I feel like you pulled that logic from your dad and your family and just really tried to hold it together that way. And he's showing me so much brightness and love, and that his spirit is certainly around you, and he appreciates everything that you did to navigate that situation. And he's with you always. I don't know if you ever feel like you see signs from him or, get little inklings.
I think so, but you never know. It's a thing. But what would he have to be sorry for? He lived a perfect life for 9 months.
Right. The apology comes from, like, how are we to navigate why things happen, right? But he can, as a soul, speaking your soul, say, I'm sorry that went the way it went. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. But, you're always connected. It wasn't short-lived. You're still connected. And it feels so beautiful to me. It really does.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. A lot of the energy connected to you is kind of talking about how proud they are of you. I'm seeing like accomplishments and awards. Like they want to throw a parade for you. I don't know if that makes sense, but they see you navigating through challenges and change and creating a life for yourself. Are you a self-made person?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, life is busy, and I don't know if we ever take the time to be like, let me, in retrospect, think about the things that I've done, and what you're able to accomplish. And I think they want to pull that forward for you and kind of say, hey, celebrate that. Throw yourself a parade. It's important, and they are proud of you in the things that you have accomplished.
Oh, thank you. That's really great to hear. I always wondered.
Well, Bobby, that is why they are bringing it up, because they know it's important to you and that they want to express it while they can, I do have some messages for you
that kind of further build on that message. But the messages are, they think you are so clever. They think you are so smart, so clever. You are so good at finding the potential in things and the art of creation, manifesting, making things real, having an idea and pulling it into reality. Does that make sense?
It does.
You are so good at that. And someone is saying, please make the world your playground and never be small. Expand your soul. Just live as big as you can. Live as big as you can. And they're talking a little bit about good beginnings. If there's something else that you want to do, that it's kind of hard to trade the known and the reliable to start something new. It seems like a risk, but they're saying good things will happen. Good things will happen if you do. So support yourself through the transition of that. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. Okay. It really does.
Well,
so it's because, like right now we're trying to decide about our next step. Do we sell our business and move on to other things?
Big
things
step.
Like that. It's huge. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. They're saying successful endings, successful beginnings. You just got to support yourself in the middle of it. It feels like you're stepping off a cliff, right? But you're going to soar. You're going to get through it. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. You're a great guy to know, and you just seem amazing. And there's so much love coming in for you and so much support. And I'm just so thankful that I could provide this experience for you.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I really do. So thank you.
You are so welcome. Before we go, can I ask if you have a personal ghost story that you would like to share?
Now, I have personal ghost stories, and I have my best ghost story. Okay?
I think we need to hear the best one. Let's hear the best one.
Listener ghost story.
My best ghost story, and I've got many because we get touched a lot, but when I was a child, so 10 years old, right, this really great house in this really great neighborhood went up for sale at an unbelievably low price. So my dad bought this house, and we were moving in with the rich people. And it was funny because in this house, there was a library coming in, and then you went up 2 steps to a little den, and up another step, and there was a dining room that had glass doors all around. Okay? So my mom, she loved her books. So the first thing we did was bring the books, and we put the books all up on these shelves, and we went to get another load of stuff, and we came back, all the books were back in the boxes. Okay? So we put them back on the shelf and went on to get more stuff, and my mom was like, go get my china, because this house had built-in china closets, and she was going to stay there and put shelf paper in the china closets, and we were going to get the china. So we all left to get the china, and when we came back, we walked in the door, and my mom was hysterical. She was crying. She was so upset. And we finally calmed her down. She's like, what happened? And she says, as soon as you guys left, all the glass doors closed, and I was fighting the scissors at my throat until you turned the key, and then the doors opened and the sled. When we walked back in, everything stopped. And we moved out of the house, and we moved back in and out of this house 3 times before I heard my parents talking and saying, we can't not live here. We sold our house. We've got no place to go. We have to live here. So we lived in this haunted house my whole childhood. And in that house, which to this day is always up for sale, okay? Nobody stays in it very long, but every couple that lives there, that they leave that home in either a divorce or one of the spouses dead.
Wow.
And that is just crazy. But I could go on for hours telling you stories.
Oh, my goodness.
That's my best one.
While you guys were in the house, did you ever come to like some kind of balance, or was it just push and pull the entire time?
It was constant, and all of us were having different experiences. Really were, but doors opened and closed. If anything was left that you couldn't find, like your keys, your wallet, whatever, you could go up into the attic and lift this little board up. It would be under that.
No way.
Oh yeah. One night I was in my bedroom, and the closet, I had a little door. It was a Cape Cod, and had a little storage room, and that door would open and close all the time at night. And one night it opened, and this figure came out, and it had no head, and it was hovering above the floor, and it came across the room. And my brothers were always trying to scare me because they knew I was scared. And I said, John, go back to your room. Leave me alone. Charles, leave me alone. And it kept coming, and it kept coming. And I took my pillow and threw it. And it just went on through. So I threw the lights on, it went away. And I turned my stereo up really loud till my dad came up to yell at me. And I told him, I said, Dad, I'm not sleeping up here anymore. That's it.
Oh my gosh. So I have to ask, did your family ever discover any type of history about the property?
We have not. And it's bizarre. And maybe I should look further into that.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for the chills. This has been great.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. I can't wait to meet you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening, so thank you for joining me around the seance table. Tonight I am burning an incense of mugwort and mullein and lavender. I love to take a moment to ground and center. Feel my energy reaching out. And I have with me tonight a woman who is showing me her passing was at a very elderly age. She's showing me a hospice type situation, memory issues, mobility issues. She is so sweet though. Very childlike, really. Wispy white hair. She's telling me in her life, her dad was stern, and at this older age, she lost a sister during her lifetime. She is mainly very thankful of how lovingly you took care of her. She's saying she's thankful that you were very attentive to covering her cold feet with slippers, socks, blanket. I'm seeing her staying in a brick building, beige walls. I think there was a pond nearby with some ducks. Sometimes she could be escorted outside to enjoy the sunlight and the view. And her message for you this evening is to not forget to give attention to yourself as well. Self-care is very important. And so is variety in life. She thinks that you have a variety of different interests and hobbies, and maybe you don't schedule that time for yourself to get those enjoyments in. So make sure that you do that. And she's also saying to be confident in your choices and that she values you so much. She thinks you are just gold, and she wants you to think of yourself that way too. So love yourself and love your life. I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message resonates for you and connects for you, I would love to know. So please reach out. Thank you.
Book a medium reading with me. If you have a past loved one you would like to connect with, a spirit reading can be an amazing and never spooky experience. I strive to give you specific details that align only to you and your loved ones. Curious? Visit italktoghosts.com for links to book with me. I can't wait to meet you.
And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed these spooky, whispering ghost stories that I've shared with you this evening. Have you ever had a ghost whisper in your ear? I would love to hear about it. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, go back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and